have Danielle Ricks, who will be our final presenter for the morning session. Danielle is presenting on social media, and she has over 25 years experience in media and communications. She's the head storyteller and owner of a boutique company, Danielle Ricks Productions. They do everything from video production services, media coaching, social media, digital media, and Danielle is very good at developing strategic marketing and communications plans that help build relationships, strengthen online communities, and increase brand recognition. Everything I think we all are looking for. So Danielle, please come and let's give Danielle a warm welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for coming and for having me. So, social media, right? For your nonprofits, you know you should be using social media, but you may not know how or why or how to get started. So I want this little time between us to be rather interactive. So I'm going to ask you a question and you can just holler it out. What is social media? And I'll wait. Twitter. What else? What is it? Relationships.
Self-publishing.
Say that again?
Self-publishing.
Self-publishing. Anything else?
Constant contact.
I hear you whispering, but I can't hear you. Just holler.
Constant contact.
Constant contact. So what social media is a two-way conversation that's open to the public. I say something to you, I make it public, you say something to me back. So it's all of the things that you mentioned as long as it's social. And it does include email marketing, which a lot of people don't think is being social. But if you are doing something where you want a response back, if the response is open to the public, absolutely, it includes email marketing and the new hot trend for nonprofits and profits, which is crowdsourcing, which is getting people together to get you money. And that's what we're talking about today. I won't have a lot of time to go into the specifics of crowdfunding while I'm up here speaking with you, but I am going to talk about it in the breakout sessions. So, what is digital media then? We talked about social media. What is digital media? When I say that, what does that?
YouTube.
YouTube. What else? Periscope. Constant contact. So in a simpler terms, digital media is any content, be it audio, video, or photos that are digitally encoded and can be shared, again, open to the public. So for nonprofits, many of you have a leg up on a lot of the for-profits. You have a lot of this content already in your libraries. Historical references, historical photos, videos that you have, and this is information that you can be using in the social sphere. So social media, whether or not you're using Twitter or Facebook or Google Plus or whatever platform you decide to use, is a way for you to get information out about your organization and your mission for free. Now, the tools are generally free. The people that manage them, not necessarily, right? So anybody have a great social media plan they can share with me? Anybody doing social really well here today? Anybody? Do you have a plan? Are you working a plan?
We're working on a plan.
You're working on a plan. So that's really the first step, you guys. If you're going to decide to get out in social media, there are a couple of things that you need to think about. One, what's the story that you want to tell? What is your goal? That's the very first thing that I sit down and talk to clients about. Why do you want to use social media? And it's not because it's the new shiny toy on the block, right? Because there are a lot of beautiful shiny toys on the block. But why do you want to do it? Do you want to raise money? Do you want to raise awareness about your organization or your mission? Are you trying to connect with your supporters? Are you trying to fundraise? These are all different tactics. They all can be done online. Absolutely, you can use social media to do it. But you're going to have a different plan and a different strategy for each one. If you're new to the social space, I ask that you concentrate on one gigantic goal at a time and you attack it one at a time. That you don't try to go out there and say, yes, Danielle, my nonprofit wants to do all of those things. Well, we're not going to do that day one. You really have to sit down and decide what's the most important thing to you, and from that, we can develop a plan. So I like to think of social media as great storytelling. Right? Nonprofits, you guys have the emotive advantage. you have something that hopefully people care a lot about, and a community that wants to support you. You have a great story that you could be telling, and social allows you to do that in a way that connects you not just to the people who are going to give you money, but to the people who are going to amplify your story. So the very first thing we want to talk about are visuals. And a study conducted by a UCLA professor shows that 93% of communication is nonverbal. Since visuals can produce, for the mind and in the mind, 60,000 times greater than text. 60,000 times, that's bananas, right? So, given that, you want to think about what visuals you have in your toolbox that can tell your story in a great way. Video is being viewed online by an astounding rate by millennials and seniors and a bunch of people in between. So if you're trying to get your message out, video is the best place to go. You do not have to hire an expensive camera crew to do it. If you have a smartphone, and I hope a lot of you do, this little tool right here is one of the best investments you could ever make for your nonprofit. You can tell a story very easily in 2 seconds. This does not have to be a major production. I do a lot of my videos on my phone. I shoot them on my phone, I edit them on my phone, I push them out to my social networks from my phone. And yes, I do come from a television and broadcasting background, but I'm not an editor, so I'm self-taught. Hopefully the gray streak lets you know what age bracket I'm in, so this is not just for young people. All of us can get involved in this particular medium. Frequency. So consistency is important. I often see nonprofits who only use social media when they have an event or a campaign. We're launching this big campaign, let's tweet it out, let's put it on Facebook. And then it's radio silent. You don't hear anything from the nonprofit anymore until the next big event or the next big campaign. So frequency is important. You want to build your relationships before you need them. Because it's called social media, and the most important part of social media is being social. A lot of nonprofits, they stand up on the balcony, it's like they're hollering down to everyone, we're having an event today, we're having an event today, come, 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 right? But it takes a while to build these relationships online. I like to say 90 days, that you're going to give yourself 90 days to get out there and see how your social platforms are doing. That said, you want to talk about frequency and how often you're going to share and what you're going to share. It could be news clips that you find interesting or support your mission. It could be press releases that you have broken down into palatable bites. It could be photos for your mission. It could be videos of your board members if they're interested, events if they're not, but information that you can share. Now you want to do this with some frequency and test out the waters, but 2 cautions. Post too much and people are going to get turned off. Don't post enough and you're not going to get to your target audience. So every organization has a different sweet point, and you want to sort of test those waters to see what that is. Okay, so then a nonprofit says to me, but Danielle, we just do not have a lot of money and we don't have a lot of people who can run our social campaign. That is across the board most of the problem that many organizations have. So I suggest that you start a volunteer social media corps. And that's people who are going to support your organization and volunteer to repost things that you post. So they're your volunteer corps, they're not paid, right? And they're amplifying your message. They're not speaking on behalf of the organization. They're simply amplifying what you've already put out there. Then as these volunteers start getting used to this, and you find that they're really good at what they're doing, you may be able to find some resources to hire them so they become a community manager for your nonprofit. So start out with volunteers, develop a volunteer corps, and then think about hiring a community manager. So one of the other things about socializing and social media, when it is done correctly, you can increase donors and increase support simply by getting the word out about your mission. We talked about visuals a little earlier. I'm sure you've seen these photos if you're on Facebook of organizations, these human rights animal activists who have saved this dog, and when they got him, he was burnt or he was neglected, he looked awful. And then the next photo is after 3 months with the right home and the proper care and the proper love, Fido is doing great now. And it's a complete story with about 3 pictures. A complete story with 3 pictures. Nonprofits, again, being emotive, are able to tell that story better than anybody else with your visuals. So think about the way in 3 photos or less or a quick 2-minute video that you can share your mission in a way that you can socialize. Again, I want to emphasize the social part of social media. So then what we're going to talk about in the breakout is crowdfunding for the social sector, the crowdfunding trends towards crowdfunding is amazing. There are great opportunities for you all. I don't want to go into great detail here, but we are going to talk about in the breakout session how that impacts nonprofits. We're also going to talk about having a social media plan. So you say you're getting ready to have a plan, right? You jump out here in social media, you set up your Twitter account, you did your first tweet, then you got on Facebook, you uploaded a video, a couple of photos, you got on Google+, you started a group, you're on Pinterest, you did 3 pins, and oh my God, now you're exasperated because you don't know where to go next. I heard Periscope is the new hot thing. It is, people. Periscope is the new hot thing. Okay, let's write that down. Periscope. So you're on Periscope, you tag it to your Twitter account, and oh, I did my video, and nobody responded. Nobody said anything. And a week went by, and no one still said anything. So what we're going to talk about in the breakout group is having a social media plan. That is, you've got to spend some time, either yourself if you're managing it, your community manager if you're hiring someone else, or your volunteer social media core, to figure out what you're going to be talking about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Take a break on Saturday and Sunday if you like, and you need to do this 3 weeks in advance. Oh my God, Danielle, I have to have a conversation 3 weeks in advance. Yes, you have to have a conversation 3 weeks in advance. Now, the plan is fluid. Things are going to happen, things are going to change. You may keep one day in the week that's fluid so that you can add some breaking news stories. But for the most part, you're going to have a strategic plan on what happens throughout the week. I like alliteration, so it may be Mission Monday to Tuesday, what's happening Wednesday. It helps me in my mind think about what's going to happen, and it also helps everybody else figure out what they're going to do for their posting, right? So if you are going to turn this over to a community manager, they know how to turn to their manager and say, what do we have for Mission Monday? What is the mission that we're trying to promote today? What can I post? Those are the things we're going to be talking about in the breakout. So the other thing I wanted to tell you is social media, it is a huge tool. When done correctly, you're going to be able to raise awareness about your organization, bring supporters to the table who may have never heard of you before, and fundraise as well. But it is ever evolving. The technology is ever evolving. It is also not a silver bullet. It's not the only thing that you're going to do in the space. But done correctly, social media marketing and digital media marketing can increase by leaps and bounds the work that you've done across the board for nonprofits. You have to give it time though, you guys, and you also need to make sure that it's interactive. You want to reply. A lot of times nonprofits just push information out on their pages, and folks are having conversations on their pages and no one's responding back. Or someone says to me, but I'm really afraid, Danielle, what if they say something bad about my organization? Well, if they're saying something bad, they're saying something bad. Wouldn't you rather know what it is so that you can respond back to it? Pizza Hut had they're not a profit, but a nonprofit. Pizza Hut had a great campaign. They were saying something crappy about their crust. They were blasted all over Facebook and all over Twitter. So what did they do? They fixed their crust. And then they went back and did a commercial about it and did some Facebook posts about it because guess what? It did suck. So if people are saying things bad about you, you want to know what that is. You want to get that narrative, change that narrative, switch it around to something positive, and use some of the negative feedback as a way to up the ante. Now, are there going to be trolls out there? We call trolls people who just are out there just to say bad things. Yes, there are. And you also need to have some type of plan in mind to go ahead and decrease that energy. Mostly, it's ignoring them and not getting into public fights. All right, so we're going to be talking about social media plans when we get together. What does that look like? We'll be talking about crowdfunding, and we'll also be talking about goal setting. How do you set a goal for what you want to do in social media? I'm going to leave you with this quote. Quote, like most businesses, nonprofits tend to look at social media as a money-first or money-only channel. So I would recommend they temper the expectations that social is about fundraising and just focus on being a resource, useful and or entertaining to their core audience. Make people happy with your content. The donations will come. And that's from Jason Falls, the founder of socialmediaexplorer.com. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the breakout session. Thanks so much.